On this Now Reality podcast, we are exploring concepts related to accessing knowledge from what Lady, that's me, refers to as vast, a universal collective consciousness available to anyone. We go over ego will versus reaching. Ego will typically involves conscious, deliberate actions driven by personal desires, fears, or ambitions. Reaching is often described as a subtle thread of knowing or insight that comes spontaneously without conscious reasoning. To reach into vast for knowledge effectively, quiet the ego will and allow intuitive insights to come through. This involves techniques that help quiet the mind and open oneself to a deeper insight. Cultivating a mindset of openness to receive information from beyond one's personal consciousness and learning to distinguish between ego-driven thoughts and genuine reaching for intuitive guidance is the goal of this podcast. Enjoy. Please comment, like, share, and have a great day. Thank you. The number of information vibrating between this breath and the next one is never ending. Stop. Breathe. Ask. And listen to hear what's being said between the breaths of your now reality and of the others. Of the others is what surrounds you all the time in multiple layers, but they're you. And it is still your now. It is your extended now. I want you to start understanding your reach, your extended now. So yes, we're here in this body. This is your day. This is what's going on. But if you don't leave the opening, you stay stuck. And this is what I was talking to Franny about. When you're between vibratory fields, there's a feeling of I'm not moving. I'm stuck here. There's nothing going on. Or why am I still thinking this over and over and over again? You're not clearing your mind. But when you vibrate at a regular level, which you all are higher vibrators, when you let this level start to pull on you, you dip, right? You get pulled down. And when you do, you hit planes of where you've been in your past. So you know this has happened to you because you will have memories of something and you'll have feelings with whatever that is, and you'll live there for a moment and then you'll have to talk your way out of it. Everybody understands this? So now that you are already at this place, every time you have that dip, it doesn't go to the bottom. No, it stops along the way. It's like weight loss and weight gain for us people that have this problem. You will gain weight to a number and you'll stay there and you don't know what the hell. They're called set points. All right. But this vibratory field also handles your set points of gaining and losing. Gaining is lower and losing is upper. In fact, you cannot be upset about who you are when you're in a joyful vibratory state. You can't. And what happens is your sleep is better, your thoughts are better, how you deal is better, what's going on around you is clearer. But as soon as you start to tilt, you get more of the same. Oh, I'm here again. And there will be stops. Like I said, you don't go straight down. There'll be stops. And when you stop, that plateau or that vibration that you're hitting is one you've been at before. So I don't want you to think that every vibratory level you hit isn't someplace you've already been. You have been. It's when you go beyond, when you go higher than, that you really find this massive difference in your thought patterns. Stuff that bothers you it falls away quite easily. It's like, oh yeah, no. And you're popped back up into the level you want to live at. But it takes choice. It's so simple. It's a choice. We're choosing to be where we are. With our expansion we've been working on over the last month, now, today too, I want you to understand that the vibratory fields that we reach with vast, like Nancy discovered on her own, vast is not external. Vast is internal and external. Vast is all of you, inside and out. And you're able to go from an emotional state in your body out of it purely by joy. That's why it works. You raise yourself right out of it because you bring laughter in, you bring happiness in, you dance, whatever you're doing, you can't do anything else. There's no multitasking. There's no such thing. When you do that, your whole internal alchemy raises. Your field goes up your spine, which is why I gave you that meditation or that action work to do with the mindset. Goes up the spine and hits the pineal gland. And that is the gland of light and dark. I want you to think it's your way to expand and it's your way to stay internal. And there's nothing wrong with staying internal sometimes. Let that light come down and illuminate whatever else is blocking you from being a higher vibrator. Is everybody following me?
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking fast. I'm sorry. I get excited. Okay, gotta breathe. Okay. When you decide, choosing that you want to find the most joy in a day, you will then find the most ease in your day. As soon as you start to feel things are clumpy and like, oh, I got to do the clothes, I didn't sweep, or all that mundane stuff, you will dip a place. You will dip to a place. You will dip to a place. I say all of you have had so many struggles over the last couple of months, and look at what you've accomplished, and you're not down in the dregs. Franny's had a horrible time. Louise has had a horrible time. Franny's had, an incredible amount of trauma and drama, and now with the family and everything else. But as you realized you were stuck in standing still, now you can understand why that's happening to you, Franny. And it happens to all of us. No one escapes it. Vibration moves. It's constant. We don't stand still. We think we're standing still, but we're not. Nancy's writing like crazy. She's not standing still. She's in her chair, but she's still opened up. She's opening up. And the pineal gland, or pineal, which however you want to say it, that one is the one that allows you to be the most of you and the least of you at the same time. You are like, that's the spiral we always talk about. When you go in a spiral, it goes up and it goes down. It's not just one way. It's a choice to be one way. And that's where you find your choice. It's still, they're discovering more and more about it, but let's just say that's the inner and outer alchemy. This is what you have to use to reach beyond. And you do that with your thought patterns and joy. Is everybody okay? Is that too much? So today, of course, I want to ask Nancy, because I gave Nancy a specific working to do, and y'all didn't get it, but she did. And I want to know, Nancy, how that went for you. What did you discover? Okay.
I feel like it's a process because I did ask a question every day, and I tried to first, what was my first question? At first, I was too attached to what the answer was going to be. And so my struggle was, is it my ego telling me what I want to hear, or am I really receiving some information?
Right.
So then I thought, well, the best thing to do would be to ask questions that pertain to me, but I'm not attached to the answer one way or the other. So I thought that might make it, less crucial that my ego get the answer that it wants. So I did it the last time I did it. Charles was, he had a little thing with his daughter, and I didn't know how to react. And I found that initially I was reacting coming from my own emotional life with her, but that's not going to help him. So I made a very broad question to ask about how I should support him in relation to his daughter. And then I got answers which, I think maybe at some level I was thinking of it anyway, but it just solidified it for me. I was able to write it down and use it when I had a conversation with him. So I'm choosing to believe that I was able to tap into something rather than have my brain talking to itself.
So what you said is really important. First off, ego definition. It's hard, but there is a texture. There is an essence about what's ego will when you're calling, when you're reaching, and what's not. Yeah. It's not like when you say, well, I think I thought of it before. Okay. But is that because you're on the field where the answers are? Is that because that's where you were at the time? How do you know? How do you know if that's not what the truth is? Is that you heard what's there waiting for you because it already knows what's going on. The ethers don't stop moving either. And when you're stressed or anything's happening with you, they're there to pick up the pieces and bring you into a broader vibratory field where your answers live.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So
Yeah.
you have to ask yourself, is that what happened, that you thought of it and your ego decided? Or were you already there and you already had the information waiting? Or did it just come at that moment? Each one is an essence. It's kind of like when I gave you the project to do, it's so that you can discern what's ego will and what's expansion.
Mm-hmm. That's difficult. I mean, at this point, at this stage of my beginner stage, it's a little difficult. But
So let me tell you what I suggest, Nancy, as you move forward. Everyone's going to do this now. So get your pens and papers out. And you really need to have an answer next week. At least do it twice. In case I know you're traveling and all that, but do your best. So when you decide you want to ask a question, whatever, Louise, do you need something? You have your raised hand.
Just a question whenever you're ready after.
No, is it for now or is it for after I give all this information?
Well,
What's the question?
Just what you were describing. It was like sacred land walking a bit when you're out and you're finding answers. And it's like, does it relate to that when you're out and you're like, you have that question and you find a thing and finding, is that?
Yes, the answer is yes.
Okay.
So, which is going to have to be explained by you in a minute because they don't know what you're talking about. But anyway, yeah, you sacred land, we're going to answer that question. Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to think of something. Now we've done this before, but now you are different. So I want you to do this. I want you to pick something that only involves you. Like Nancy asked about how she can help Charles. No, how can she help herself not feel this way? And that will help Charles because she'll get more information because she's lifted into that higher state. Everybody following that? That is like a crucial concept to being the happiest person, is that you do that. You consciously choose you're first. You have to be first. And the overflow is incredible, especially when you rise to that field where they're not on and you are just showering it back out. It's kind of like the cup runneth over in beautiful light. You're sending all these answers out from your field because they're in the proximity of you. Your expansion is not, oh, it's just here. No, it's this huge field. So I want you to choose questions that are answerable within a few days. Things that are answerable within a day, 2 days, 3 days max. Whatever you ask, either is going to be coming, you're going to go, there's something going to be going on. Ask questions about things that are not too far from where you are, the outcome or the information or what you can help do or what you should watch out for before the event, before the issue. But you must find a resolve. So it has to be something close or you're not going to understand this tool. And the essence of all of these are what I need you to understand more of right now. I know you can do it. I know you may say, well, I'm not really sure sometimes. That's okay. But when you do hit it, you're sure you've hit it. Like what Nancy was saying, which is very important, is it my ego will, or am I actually hearing this? Or is it something I learned before? All of these have textures, flavors, essences. And once you start discerning whatever, then you can soar. Then you can soar. Then true identity, true who identity starts to become just everything. It's just everything for you. All right. So pick a question about something that's closely related to the time you're asking. So let's say, for example, Louise has an art show and she's going to bring her books. How many books will I sell at the art show? Ask specific questions and then get your answer, whatever it is, write it down. And then as the date goes by, doesn't mean you should think, oh, I'm not going to sell any because if I think I'm going to sell them, then I'll get the wrong number. No, if you think you're going to sell 8, then I want you to see 8. I want you to see whatever number it might be. You really put your heart into your choice. Is everyone following? This is how you're going to determine the difference. Because if the 8 don't show up, then what's that texture feel like? What was that essence like? What do I think of it? How do I feel? That's ego will. Essence of not ego will, of vibratory will, it's completely different than your ego one. But you and me, we have different essences of it. We all understand it differently. So you can't pick one over the other. But trying to please keep other people out of it. If you put other people in it, it's really hard to understand the difference because you have emotions to whoever you're putting in it. And the idea is it's only your emotions that are going to count. Now, Franny, you have a whole lot of stuff you can be doing for yourself, answering for yourself to help your family move on. But you really have to be number one sometime in the week. You're like you're never number one anymore. And that's what's throwing you down. And I'm worried that you're going to get so low in the field that it's going to be like kicking and screaming to get you back up. And I don't want that for you because you have enough stress. You've had enough anxiety and enough stress. And summer solstice is this week. It's all fire, guys. This is all fire time. This is action. Go, go, get it done. Do it all. Ooh, ooh, ah, ah. And it makes you tired, makes you want to sleep more, which you should do when you need to sleep. Do it because that's what it's asking for. Also, you'll be hot. Your body temperature will be warmer than it would be any other time of the year. Not just because it's sunny outside. You just naturally, your expansion will put you into heated spaces because it's sunny outside. If Casey was up the north and it was freezing, she'd have a different experience because it's cold there. Not now, but if it was. So temperature is not the only way to decide. I have to keep using the word essence. I can't really describe it any other way because it's so personal. But it's a feel difference. It's like popping your hand through. Okay, let's say you are underwater and you're floating and you take your hand. No, you're underwater. Is that the best one? Let me think. Yeah, you're underwater. You got goggles. You're underwater. You're snorkeling because you can breathe. Nothing's stopping you. You're underwater. You're looking around. Isn't this beautiful? And then you pop up. And it's totally different, right? The light's different. What you're seeing is different. Everything is different. You feel like you emerged. It's that kind of feeling. That's the best way to describe essence of vibratory fields. It's like this one. Maybe this one's a little bit more easy to understand versus as you understand your essence, it might be slight, not as easy to read as popping out of water, but that's the idea. Is everybody following? Anybody have any questions?
Well, for me, and I don't know if I'm right to think that, but for me, I know when it's essence, when there are no words in my head forming sentences, because that is ego talking, but it's the knowing without words. The feeling comes, and it is also like coming from down the water and then up. But I don't know if I'm correct to think that's.
Yeah, it's like a sensation, I guess. But Franny, I
Yeah.
think if you do things that are ego will, you understand them from ego will, then you get what you're talking about. You can be even clearer about, oh no, I'm here. Now this is where the information is. This is where I can find everything I need to be happy. Here it is. Versus ego will, which has subconscious in it. I mean, that's what it is. I've done it before. I know how it goes. I heard it before. This one said it, so that's what it is. And da 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 da, and you don't go anywhere. So definitely, I think I don't feel that there's a voice when I'm in a higher field. It's just an is now. It's not. It's not separate. It's like the more you're focused on that, the more you're in it. You just kind of like breathe it. But when my ego kicks in, I'm really clear about what that is. And when you teach, sometimes you have to go with what you know from everyone, what you've all said to me. I have to put it in context so you can understand me, maybe. So you do need ego, because if you don't have that, you can't actually do this, right? But the information that's there, this is sensations, essence. I don't know what else to call it.
Yeah, it's a sensation. There are no words.
Yeah.
But when there's ego, then when it's my ego, then there's words, telling me things. And that's how I notice a difference. When it's the essence, then I hear no words. It is a
Yeah.
feeling, a knowing.
Everyone is going to have their own experience on how it's going to happen. When I first started hearing anything, I heard voices. I didn't know that it was just the field. And all the information's there, and it's all chat, you need information, la 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 la, here it is. So I just heard the voice is, and now it's not like that, but that's how I was. It was tiring. Okay. Anyone else have any questions? Lou, what do you think? Are you going to be able to accomplish this one?
I will try. I feel quite hesitant still to take on other things. It's like my cup of stuff is really full. So taking on something else to do feels kind of overwhelming and panicky, like, oh my God, something else.
Okay,
But,
are you going to celebrate summer solstice?
Yes.
Then that's when you'll do it.
Okay. Yeah.
See how that worked out?
I just thought it was like a daily thing or a thing we were doing in the week.
No one's doing it daily except for maybe Nancy.
Okay. That's fine.
And I want you to, but that's not happening for many people. But also your flow form, is that working, your flow form?
Yes, it was on today.
Yeah, well, this is a great place to do this. The water's flowing and there's action going on, and it really helps to clear the whole space you're in. Great place to ask a question and then wait, write it down and go. It's not like you're sitting there doing anything. You're asking a question, seeing how you feel about it. What's your answer? Write it down. Done. Move on. You don't have to stay there. Gee, was that my ego? Gee, was that? No, whatever it felt at the time, that's the answer for your essence of that question. And here comes your answer within a day or two later. It's really important that you have an answer point. All right.
Okay.
Even if you're going to the store, I have to go get something at the store. And then I'm going to write it down. I'm going to get it. And you feel like, yeah, that's not happening. And in a couple of days, it doesn't. And you might forget you even asked the question. But in your little place where you're writing stuff, you go, oh, yeah, it didn't happen. And you'll know what that feels like. You'll know that sound, that voice you're hearing, or that vibration you're hearing, because vibration has sound, as we know. That's vast. That's you. That's your expanded person. That's your extension. Okay. Don't spend a lot of time on them, though. Just get to them and get out off of them. Now, I've had one of the people talk to me recently about channeling again and guardians and angels and what are they? I invite you to listen to the podcast Nancy and I did. The one that me and Casey did was really pretty interesting as well, because it covers these things. But Nancy's was more the angelic channeling, guardians, guides, whatever. And Casey really dealt with some other kind of really important facts to be, spoken about, including religion and concept in that direction and, rising. So those two podcasts have a lot of information on them. And I really think that you should give it a listen. You don't have to watch anything. You just put it on and it talks, and that's it. If you want to watch, you go to YouTube and watch. That's if you want to sit and watch us talking. Me and Nancy or me and Casey. I think there's something to be said for listening and picking out. What comes to you is your pick out. What comes to you is your thread in that conversation. Not everything is going to interest you, but there could be one thing that does, and that is what you take from it and you go with it. Okay? The podcast is on Spotify. And it's called Now Reality. Surprise! It's called Now Reality Podcast with me, Lady Colleen Hiller. All right. We talked about being stuck. We have to talk about the energy that's going on now. I know we're getting to time and people have things to do. Summer solstice is here. Summer solstice is the peak of higher vibration without having to do anything. So Nancy's saying she wants to sit down. She sits down 4 hours and no problem. She's going. This is the perfect time for it. This is the time where you have every energy helping you do that. There's no struggle. Like if you said in February, I sit down and I can't write, or I feel it's a different energy. I think, Nancy, you've had that too, right? This year wasn't all sit down and go every time, but you do like to write. And you also said to me, you aren't finding blocks. You don't have writer's block. Tell them about that, because that's like crazy.
I mean, if I come to a place where I don't know what my character says next or whatever, I just stop and I do something else. And go to the bathroom. I look out the window. Something that takes me out of the the mind twist that I'm in, and I come back and boom, I just write it. So that's what I do.
So you choose to change the situation and you're choosing to go back and listening to hear. You're doing all the things that have to do with this. You're doing it all. I can't wait to read what you've been writing. Yeah.
It's different.
I can imagine it must be different. So I've had conversations with people recently about what's a channel, what's a medium, what's the creator, what is creation, lots of that. And that fits into the time schedule as well. I mean, this is the time for all that. When you untangle and you break away, then you have questions. And as you move through the different fields of debris, every field has your debris on it, your good stuff and your crazy stuff and your happy stuff and your sad stuff. It's everywhere. But when you get to this burning time, this fire time, you have ash. It remains. It's not anything trying to hold together. It's trying to burn through. All that ash needs a chance to happen. Don't stop it. You want to be as free as possible. You want to let your thought, whatever it is that you've been having, and yet I don't even think about that anymore. Why is it coming up? Because it's on your field, like blow it off, basically. And that's what expansion's about. It's about changing what's on there for you. What's on there about you or me won't change. I will hear it all. And everything I've done, all of my stuff is there for anyone that wants to find that too. Now, this can be scary, but remember, not a lot of people are rising. But if they do, and they're thinking of me, things will come to them and like, oh, she never said that. Oh, I don't remember that about her. She didn't do that, but I did. And it's on the field. But also on the field are places that stop you and block you from moving. So that debris you are in control of. But is it a permanent control? No. Everything we've done is on the field. It's on your vibratory field. And it can be accessed by anybody who wants to learn how to be in their most joyful state and make the most positive changes for themselves, the planet, the world. If it suits them and there's something about that that's important for them to do it, they can find it. That includes people that don't like you, people that want to cause you trouble, or they're jealous, or they fear you. They will look for you too. They're not trying to look for you, but they'll try to find out who you are from what they can. And then they make assumptions and judgments about you without ever talking to you. I mean, you all hear that. Everybody has something to say, and they have never spoken to you. So that goes on all the time. Keeping your field clear with the people around you, that's the most important thing. Everyone can think what they want. Keeping yourself clean away from people that are negative, that is a goal. That is a goal. That is a choice to be happier. Then you keep that away, at bay. If you're dead and they find it, who cares? You want to make sure that you are as clean and happy and joyful as possible. And when you go, and they say, whatever, bye, doing my thing. And you're off in Never, Never Land. Okay. I want to ask everybody now just one question. We're going to go pretty quickly. The question is this. What do you think is really happening between a person who is a medium and you? Let's say you're asking a question to a medium. What do you think is happening? Where is their information coming from? How is it happening? What do you think? There's no wrong answer. It's what you think. So what do you think? What do you think, Franny?
I think he's tapping into my energy, my level of knowing somehow, vast, perhaps. I don't know. Yeah, they're tapping into something
Okay.
that
What about you,
concerns
Denise?
me.
Thank you, Franny. What about you, Denise?
That they're pulling it from me. Like, let's say, like, it's kind of already there and they're picking up on it and pulling it from you. Is how I'm
So
seeing it.
if you see a medium, mostly they're going to talk about somebody who died, right? Mediumship is about communication with someone who's passed on. That's their job. That's what they're for. Channels are supposed to be reaching other beings or people that maybe you don't know. But mediums, you go to them because you want to speak to your father, your uncle, your whatever. That's what they're known for. So for me, the answer has to stay in that realm. What are they doing? Are they going to you? No, they have to talk to whoever so you can validate. So they say, do you have somebody with a J in your family? Which is like random, but they do it. And you go, oh, my great Uncle John. Yeah, okay. So everyone can have a J in their life. But what are they doing actually? When somebody hits, like you can watch them on television, you can watch them on series or whatever. You can watch them on YouTube. You'll get them on and they'll say, I just can't believe how good he was. And when you listen to it, you go like, yeah. And then you'll listen to another one this person does and go, oh my God, that was really good. It was right on. What do you think they're doing? Are they talking to dead people? And if you say yes, that's the answer. Casey, what about you?
I think they're blending with the essences of that spirit or what's ever above and blending it and pulling that information in.
Okay. What about you, Lou?
So medium. I think some people are just quite good at suggesting information and then having it trigger and kind of work for people that way. But I think whether we are some like we have I've got all of those levels you were talking about, that is all within and around us, and that includes people we've known and parents and things like that. Parents and prominent things and people that had a really strong resonance in our lives will be sitting there as part of something quite strong in our field. So
what is the medium or whoever it is, what are they doing actually?
they will be people. I think they're people that does have that ability. Like some people are good at maths or something. They're good at accessing stuff. Like you have a natural gift. I haven't ever come across anyone with a gift on your scale and awareness around that. But I think some people do. But I think they stay in more the lower layers of it, like the human stuff. But like they're all in that really kind of dense human rail, earthly life. They're in that.
Okay, great. Thank you. Nancy, what about you?
Well, it's like you say, I think they're able to tap into one of the energies there. The thing that I think happens next, though, is that whatever they are hearing gets filtered through their own human consciousness. So I don't know exactly what that means, whether they're picking up it's their own bias, or they really have a gift to, I don't know. I just know that it's not a fax machine, and whatever comes in goes through here and then comes out there.
Right. Okay. Anybody else have anything they want to add since we're talking? Denise, you want to add anything?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Louise?
Just that I think with mediums, I really question their motivation. Like, why are they giving you that information? Because here in Insights, it's about moving forward and achieving and kind of rising up in your life. But what is the purpose of mediumship? It's all kind of past people that have died. It's kind of looking backwards. So I think I question the thinking that they have around sharing that information, because it keeps people in a place and stops people moving forward sometimes.
Sometimes that's true, but it also can be very helpful for someone who is stuck and they didn't say goodbye to their father. And your father said he forgives you, it's okay. They find a great peace and a relief, and you can actually see that on the person living. And now they have this moment of, I don't have to do that anymore. So they're carrying it on their back, So it's twofold. Don't forget it's a business. Nobody's walking around doing this for free. It's a business. So there's going to be that on top of it. The really good ones that I call good ones, other people don't agree with me that they're good ones. That's fine. Are not there to make you live further in the past. Some of them talk about the past to the point, or this happened and that happened, and they're still crying and they forgive you, but it's okay. And but you should really look at this and you should really look at that. That's what you're talking about. That's, to me, I agree. But mediumship itself, for me, my opinion, based on whatever many years, we aren't going to say that anymore, all those years ago, is that mediums are hitting a vibratory field of the person who died. The ones that are good, that's what they're doing. All of my stuff is on a field. All of your stuff's on a field. And some people are really good at letting their egos go enough so they can expand under the names of the person. So if they say, Nancy, it's so glad to see you. Even if I don't know you, you're already giving me a field. Nancy's field. Nancy's got an extension of herself, right? She extends. And that can be your great-grandmother, can be your great-grandfather, can be your mother or sister, whatever. And then if I'm good, I'll be able to go and be in that field, and I'll start plucking things off the field and give her things that she recognizes that there's no way I could know. So everybody's following that.
Can I say something? Because it
Of course.
happened between you and me when I was doing, what's it called?
Goya?
Goya. I kept thinking goat, but that's not it.
Goat's good too. Greatest of all time.
But we were talking about my mother, and then you turned and you went, yeah, it's Nancy. And then you had asked a question, like I had to write down words that I thought about for my mother. And you turned and you told me the word that she said, which is not a word I would have picked, but as soon as you said it, I knew that was right.
That's the field. That's speaking from the field. That's from me being on the vibratory field. Goya is very personal. It's 1-1-1. Casey had many weeks, and Robin and you, Denise, you did Goya for, yeah. And other people, Jackie, Susie, whatever. Many people did Goya, and it's very personal. So I am attached to you, and I can move up and down quite easily because I'm not involved in a care for what I'm saying. I don't care what I say. I don't have to, it's not a judgment thing. So ego kind of has a judgment with it. However, what I was saying to Nancy, which is important for everyone, no matter who you hear whatever from, it's still, if they're not clean and clear and staying in a higher vibratory field, they funnel it through themselves. They use their own life to give you the answers they're hearing. They change the words, or they don't think that's the right word, so they have another one to make up for it. But it's not the right word. The word they heard was the right word. That takes practice and time. But I don't think anyone's talking to a dead person. The essence of that person, what happened in the life of that person, is on a field. And they are reaching that. And is that a bad thing? No. But to say, Uncle Jim standing right behind you, this is like, yeah, I've never, ever seen that. And the really good ones don't ever say they're standing next to you or they're on your right hip or they're whatever. When I first started, the feeling of the sensation, like let's say I was talking to Casey and I'd say, wow, you got this light on your right side. It's really, you know, I think that your mom, I think she is there, whatever it was. That happens. But then as you go and you grow, that changes to not being the case. That's not the case. You understand it's everywhere. So as the information comes around in its field, you'll get the sensation of it's here, it's here, it's here, it's here. So you define it that way when you speak to somebody. Oh, like I was, and I can't mention who, but I was talking to a certain guy and he was having a really hard time. And it turned out that his wife was cheating on him and he didn't know that, but I did. So do I say to him, I understand why you're so upset all the time because you know in yourself that this is happening, but you can't prove it. But I know how you can prove it. Do I tell him that? No. No, I couldn't tell him that because that's not what it was. He wanted to connect with how to be better for himself. Telling him about his wife being what had nothing to do with him being better for himself. So I had to go around it, even though I knew. There's some things you have to do that relate to exactly what people are asking you, not when you can go beyond. That's not for you. That's not your path. That's interference. Is everyone following the difference? I think mediumship is important for the people that are really murders, child SIDS when the baby dies young, and things that are really heartbreaking, and you can't breathe for it and you can't let it go, and it takes you to your grave younger. I mean, you die earlier because of your heartache, and heartbreaks are real. Heartbreak is real. So those people, yes. We had a girl in our class once who came because her father died. What's her? Noah. Is it Noah?
Yeah.
Right?
Noha.
Noha. Right. She
Yeah.
came because her father died. And as I was doing privately with her, telling her stuff, this and giving her, look, he's right. He is there with you. You just have to let it happen. She wanted him to be there physically sitting on the bed. So that's not going to happen. He's not here. That temple is gone. But the larger him is everywhere and he's trying to talk to you, but you don't want to listen. He even went to the, there's only so much the vibratory field can do. And this umbilical cord between them it was almost like they were married versus being a father and daughter. And she'd find things about him on her path, which can happen because when you're between worlds, there is the possibility, because I saw it at Chalice Well, of seeing things not finished that are still cleaning up before they really completely go. So she found a red rose and she found a billboard that had his name on it. And she ran into this person and like all at the same time. And she goes, I really felt him. I went, great. How was that? Oh, we want him here. I'm like, oh, this is not going to work. So it wasn't helpful for her. And today she's still in that same state. Her father's still on her Facebook page. He's still in the same place. There's a reason why they want to stay in that place. No medium's going to help that. No one can help that. She has to help that. So there's limits to what you should and should not do with people. And if people start using you as a guide for predictions, yeah, for some things, but as a regular diet, it's really not good for you. I'm going to make a lot of money. It's not good for you. And I made a lot of money in readings, a lot of money. And I gave it all up because I know what Vast is saying. I 100% trust it. I've had enough proof of it. I'm not helping you to do this work yourself. I'm there to help you do that. You reach that. You understand that. You be that. You don't have to go through me because my vision of what I'm hearing may interfere with the words coming out of my mouth. And I want you to be better. I want you to be happy. I want you to do good. And I may put that ego will want on top of what I'm saying. And I'm not sure I can separate it. So I just don't read anymore. I help some people. I'll say things, but I don't sit down and do readings anymore. And that's why. I think I've explained it before. Okay, does anyone have any questions, thoughts? Okay, I have
Um,
something to say to Franny. Oh, go ahead, Lou. Franny, I'm coming back to you.
I was just saying, I've had readings from you in the past, and they're really awesome. But what I've noticed in with Vast happening, it's like you're in that state kind of all the time. It's not
Yeah.
a now I'm me and now I'm reading. It's like those two states are really integrated. So just in talking, in conversations with you, I've noticed there's like talking about essences when you're talking, there's something changes sometimes, and then I go, oh, and I listen. It's like that's coming from that place, like in that instant, but it is that now thing that I noticed in conversation. So that's what
Thanks,
I've
Lou.
noticed
Yeah.
in your growth or journey that we've been on with you.
I think you would know that more than anyone because we've been over the years now. How long have I known you? 95, 96, 97,
I think, yeah, 98. So
98.
like 20, 25. Yeah, yeah.
And you lived with me in Egypt and you stayed in the desert and we've traveled in Wales. We've done all the, we've done lots of things. So you know me from the whole growth period. But thank you for saying that.